Hey guys, welcome back, and we're kicking back off with the Pi project where we left off. So we have RetroPie running on the Pi itself. Now we just got to get some ROMs onto the machine. So if we go in here, you can see I've built myself a little test image. Now it's just a few ones that I've been able to grab, sort of arcade, Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, that kind of thing. So what we're going to do is we copy it into the pen drive. Now each folder has to have a specific name so that RetroPie can pick it up. So that's what I've done, and we're going to move that into the pen drive. Once that's all copied over, excuse me, once that's all copied over, we've got it on our, we'll move back over to our setup over here, and we have our pen drive with just, it's an 8 gig memory card in the back of that. So we're going to plug it into one of the USB ports that we have here, and then power on the Pi. So we've just plugged it into one of the standard ports. I don't think there's any real issue with plugging it into the standard rather than the 3.0. We will power on the Pi. Now my little stick does have a power slash busy light, so we'll be able to see. So the busy light is what we are looking for. So once RetroPie starts up, here we go. If we look back at the stick, you can see it flashing there. That means it's copying anything that was across, anything that was on the memory stick over onto the internal card in the RetroPie, or in the Raspberry Pi for RetroPie to use. So it'll, depending on how big of a build you've got it, may take a wee bit of time, but basically just leave it until the light stops flashing, or if you don't have one, a light on it, just leave it for a little bit. So when we come back, our light has stopped flashing, so we can remove the memory stick because we don't need that anymore. It's all copied over onto the Pi's internal memory, or on the card itself. So what we'll do now is we'll go into the menu of RetroPie and restart Emulation Station. Basically this then refreshes the directories that it has, and our new ones should appear. So when we've started it up, we can see that it just still has the RetroPie configuration. So at this stage, again, I've made a kind of critical error, which I will show you here. So my issue is here. This is in the file manager of the RetroPie, and you can see the folders that I've created: C64, Mega Drive, NES, SNES. Now if we look down, the ones it was looking for to copy in were lowercase. Because of the system that it uses, lowercase and uppercase are different. So I really had to just go back, rename the folders, re-import everything, and there they all are. So we've got a few ones loaded up, so we'll just jump into an arcade one here just to let you see it running. So I've just picked Bubble Memories because this was one that I had a problem with CoinOps X. It didn't run too well. There was a bit of performance issues, so I really wanted to see how the Pi would tackle this, how it performs. So really straight off the bat, you can see that there's no tearing, there's no lagging. The sound is working really well. So I'm really pleased that this is one of the ones that we've got working, because I love Bubble Bobble and I've never played either Bubble Memories or Bubble Symphony. So this was one that I had to get working. If we just jump into the story quite quickly, we can show you just a little bit of the gameplay. Overall, I'm really pleased with how it performs. There's no issues that I can see here. Playing it on the Xbox controller, so you know, it's a wee bit of a weird one getting used to playing it like that, but everything's grand. Jump over onto the Mega Drive, and we'll look for I managed to hit over, and I've jumped into another system. Not quite used to the navigation of the system yet, so we're looking for one that we sort of recognize here, and we'll just keep going. There's a good one there. Battletoads. Ugh, Battletoads. everybody knows Battletoads, so we'll jump in and we'll take a wee look to see how everything looks from the Mega Drive or the Genesis side of things. So there we are, instantly loads up, so that's a good sign. And then we'll just continue on once I get the player one start. So there we are, 1991 from Rare, always good to have. We'll jump in here. I don't think I play Battletoads on the Mega Drive. I think I've definitely played the one on the NES. So this is a bit of a new one. Really, it's the same game. If you're looking at 8-bit versus 16-bit, it's pretty much the levels are all the same. Just the graphics are a bit better. Now, one thing I did notice was that my Commodore 64 games aren't appearing. So I thought this was a wee bit weird, so I went off and had a little look at what could be causing it. So it's not really a problem as such. There are default emulators that come installed as part of RetroPie, and there are some optional ones that don't. So the C64 one, which uses Vice, is an optional emulator which has to be installed. So to do that, we just go into the RetroPie setup. We'll go into manage packages, and Vice will appear under manage optional ones. So there's a whole bunch of different ones in here that can be used, and over time I've started to use a few other ones, sort of Naomi ones and other ones for Dreamcast and stuff. So there's Vice. All we have to do is click OK on that. There's two options here, so we can either install it from a precompiled binary, which is on RetroPie's site, or we can install it from the source, which is coming from Vice's. I am assuming it's a Git repo somewhere, so I'm going to get the source because it'll grab the most up-to-date version. So really, we just... well, actually, I should explain that I have hooked in an Ethernet cable so that it can download everything that it needs. But you can just set it up with your Wi-Fi network's access. So we'll just let that load until it's complete. And once it's finished, sorry about that, we can see the Commodore 64 one has appeared. Now look at all the lovely Commodore 64 games that we have here. I'm a big fan of the C64. It was the first sort of gaming machine that I had, and I just remember it so fondly, so I was really looking forward to getting in here. There's a specific one I'm looking for here, which is CJ's Elephant Antics. There you go, and we'll try and load it up. Now unfortunately we had a problem here. Now I can't be sure how the problem came about. I'm pretty sure it was something I have done. At this time I thought it was just specific to the Commodore 64, that Vice wasn't working. Somehow I've managed to banjax the emulation on all systems entirely, so I didn't realise it at this time. It was only when I went back and tried a few other games on Genesis and things like that nothing was working. So I pretty much had to wipe the internal card and start over again. Once I had done, I just put in a small selection of C64 games and tried again. So here we are, it's loading up Vice, and boom, CJ's Elephant Antics. There's two things to sort of note around the C64. One, it definitely does need a keyboard hooked in, because I wasn't able to start CJ's Elephant Antics because it wanted me to hit something on the keyboard in order to start the game. So I'm going to get a small wireless keyboard to solve that. The other one is watch out for the games that you have. The ones I was using to begin with were TAPs, which is tape, and it actually emulates the load time of the damn tape. So I think there's settings you can do to get past that, but I just went with different games. The final little thing I wanted to touch on is the scraper. Now this is an automated process whereby it can run through all of the games that you have installed. It will go to an external website and it will try and pull back artwork, descriptions, things like that. Just a little bit of a better look to the navigation once it's finished. So it's basically going through every game on the Pi that it can find, arcade, Mega Drive, all the rest of it, and it will select the artwork and things like that that it can find on the external site. Now, there were a few that it couldn't find, which is grand, I guess. There's probably games on there that don't work anyway, which I have to go through. But there you can see these are the games that it was able to pull back, and it does look a lot better than previous. So there we go with the games. There's a few more things I've got to get running on this, but I'm fairly happy with how things have gone. What I'd like to do now is get a larger memory card in, get the full build put onto the machine, onto the Raspberry Pi, and let it run through with the scraper and download all of the artwork that it can. Now, in order to do that, I do want to get a heatsink case, because I think the scraper, with the amount of processing that it's going to have to do, will generate some heat. So that will be my next thing. There's also something that one of the guys on the channel, MC Recordings, mentioned to me, and I think I can get working. So I want to have a little play around. Don't want to say what it is yet until I have confirmed whether it works or not, but that is for another time. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me. I hope this has been enjoyable to watch. It's really been enjoyable to set up, and I think the end result is going to be really, really cool. But yeah, thanks very much for spending some time, and I will catch you again later. Bye for now.